breaking the bones of black infants.
All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Makakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. And the elect begins with the 144,000. YAHAWAH, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jehovah. BAHASHAM is in the name. YAHAWASHI, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The Makakwadash, which is the Holy Spirit. I'm the brother Iwalamia with the Jam at Chicago camp out here in Chicago. Come back at you with another lesson. And Lord, I hope this lesson be edifying through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. Once again, I hope this lesson is edifying. Here to bring another lesson, based off this individual, as you can see on the screen, Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman. So I'm gonna play the details to get the details behind this Edomite, how she was ultimately, unaliving, Jake babies, mainly from the tribe of Judah, man. When we're in the hands of our enemies, man, this is what Esau Edom does to our people, man. That's why in the curses in Deuteronomy it says, "Thou shalt have no insurance of thy life," loosely paraphrasing. But we're found in the hands of the so-called white man, and being in this oppressive system, Esau Edom can kill us and get away with it, man. So I'm gonna play this clip and I'm gonna just jump straight into it.
A nurse that was breaking baby bones.
What? You didn't
There's
see
a white woman nurse that was breaking the bones of black infants, breaking their bones. Hey, show this fat white bitch. Black babies, black ones. This bitch should be executed. Fuck this bitch. Fucking cunt. Fat bitch.
Even when you talk about being in the system, how many times in the last couple of years have we found social media? We found a judge, been a judge for 20 years, the N-word all over the internet. She's been residing over black cases her whole life, putting black men in jail.
What's her name?
Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman.
Yeah.
Man. She was arrested in connection with the abuse of several black babies at a Virginia medical center.
Damn, in Virginia? Can you imagine your kid? Mother.
Man, dog.
What the? Now you gotta go. My kid's more in the infirmary. What? I gotta watch these bitches, these nurses.
Right,
I go, you bring my kid, I'll come and I'll strangle you to fucking death.
Oh, they're gonna get her.
That bitch needs to go down. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's insane. The hatred of babies? Damn!
A nurse charged with abusing premature babies has been given a bond of $25,000 that she posted, and this is the defendant right here, is accused of breaking the bones of NICU babies that she was caring for. This lady suspected of harming at least 7 infants between 2023 and 2020.
And right, and that's the hatred of Esau Edom, man. Hey, from the man all the way down to the woman, man. Because even living in Esau Edom's system, man. A Edomite can kill one of our people and get off scot-free, and that's just the system that we live in, man. It's ultimately to keep Esau at the top. Whatever they do to our people, they get off scot-free, man. Whether it be, Edomite in law enforcement or your average Edomite, man. They're basically, giving a slap on the wrist. This individual, this nurse, this Edomite nurse, ultimately was given a bond, man. She's not even finna serve out her full sentence, But because if it was happening to a Jake to do something like that, man, hey, Jake is going to finna be under for life or either get executed, man. If Jake happened to do something like that or did something like that, But I'm gonna start off right here. This is the book of Ezekiel 35, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. It says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred," right? Perpetual meaning what? Longing or continual. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, and the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end. Right, us coming out of slavery, man, even up to this very point, man, Esau Edom has, a hatred for our people, man. Hey, and that clip of that Edomite nurse, explains that just perfectly, man. Breaking the bones, of Jake babies, man, And ultimately, she was given a slap on the wrist for what she has done, man. And it says, verse 6, it says, "Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord YAHAWAH, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee." And exactly right. What comes around goes around, man. They have ultimately shed our blood. We're going to shed theirs, man. And the kingdom that's to come, man. When we're ultimately given rulership and dominion over these heathens, man. Hey, we're going to shed their blood, Let's actually go to those precepts I had listed up. This is the book of Psalm 73 and 5. It says, "They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men, right? Because ultimately, Jake don't get the same, treatment as Esau Edom, man. As you seen, as that nurse, she got a slap on the wrist, man. She got a bond. If that happened to be Jake, hey, Jake will be, in the prison system for life or ultimately get executed, man. All of these Edomites, they get a slap on the wrist, man. They're not in trouble as other men, man. They ultimately what? Get a bond. Say for instance, an Edomite cop, shoot a Jake, they give him death duty. They don't serve out their full prison time. They're ultimately, they get off scot-free on a lot of things. So they're not in trouble as other men. What Jake happens to go through, man, hey, Jake gets the full, penalty or ultimately, judgment of what, that Jake ultimately has done, man. But if it's an Edomite, hey, they get a slap on the wrist. Just like that nurse did. She got a bond, man. She's not going to serve out her full prison sentence. So they're not in trouble as other men, man. Because ultimately, this is Edom's kingdom, man. They're ultimately what? This system is for them, man. They get perks in this system that Jake ultimately don't get. Because this is what? The land of our captivity, man. This is the book of Deuteronomy 28:49. It says, Yahawah shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fly, right? Who ultimately holds the symbol of the eagle, man? Hey, just look at Greece, look at Rome, and look at the second leg of Rome, which is America, man. All their symbols was what? The eagle, man. Just to basically let you know who this is talking about. As swift as the eagle, it says, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, right? When Esau Edom came, to gather us up, man. Hey, the west coast of Africa, it started with the northern kingdom, man. You had the Spaniards come over here to this side of the world to take down the northern kingdom. And what's that, like a little bit more than 100 years later, you had the Edomites come over, to the west coast of Africa to gather Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, man. Let's get that next verse. This is the point. Verse 50 says, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And right, that individual, that Edomite, know she didn't show favor to the young, man. Breaking, Israelite baby bones, things of that nature. And it's ultimately, got off scot-free if you want to be, realistic about it. Because she was ultimately given a bond, man. And the type of system that we live in, they're going to, these Edomites, these patriotic Edomites that truly hate Jake, man, they're going to, send her money, a GoFundMe. This is how this thing always works, man. These Edomites, ultimately, bailing one another out, man. So ultimately, this is the spirit of these Edomites, man. They don't show favor to the old nor the young, man. Because ultimately, going back to that Ezekiel 35 I just read, man, they all have a perpetual hatred towards our people, man. Let's grab this. This is the book of Zechariah 11:5. It says, whose possessors slay them? Who is our possessors, man? Hey, the so-called white man, we're still found in his hand, man. Even to this very day, man. We're still found in this devil's hand, man, being oppressed, by this man's system, man. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, right? That individual hold herself not guilty, man. Even though she went to jail, she's not going to serve out her full, prison sentence, man. She's given a bond, man. And like I said, the society that we live in, hey, more than likely than not, you're going to have Edomites band together to ultimately to bail this woman out of jail, man. It says, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not, right? Like I mentioned before, even when the Edomite cop, unalives a Jake, man, they're getting a slap on the wrist. That's duty. Hey, they'll get their prison system cut in half. This is the society that we live in, man. Ultimately, like I said, if this was the Jake, man, hey, they're going to be, they're going to get the full judgment of whatever they did, man. But if it's the Edomite, as I read that scripture, they're not in trouble as other men. Hey, they're going to get a slap on the wrist, man. It says, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not, right? And now we're still found in the hands of this damn devil, man. Who hates us until this very day, man. That perpetual hatred. Let's actually grab one more and I'm going to close out. Just to touch upon a few points. Let's see. Thank think it's in Ezekiel 25. Yep, this is the book of Ezekiel 25 and verse 12. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them, right? That's what Esau Edom has ultimately done, man. You know, shed our blood, you know, by the way of the sword, man. You know, even to this very day, man. Hey, you know, whether it be, you know, nurses, Edomite nurses, doctors, you know, police officers, you know, they shed our blood even unto this very day, man. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Don shall fall by the sword, right? Because even in the scriptures that, you know, it says, you know, them that toucheth you toucheth the apple of my eye, man. Esau Edom, you know, nobody, you know, has touched our people more than Esau Edom, man. You know, Esau Edom has killed billions of Israelites, man. You know, hey, whether you're talking about the northern kingdom, whether you're talking about the southern kingdom, man, hey, Esau Edom has spilled millions of Israelites' blood upon this land, America, which is Babylon the Great, man. And the Lord requires, you know, of that blood, man. So ultimately, blood is going to pursue this damn devil, man. The Lord hasn't forgotten, man. You know, the Lord is just building a tab upon this damn devil, man. You know, and the Lord is, we see ultimately the Lord is judging this man right before our eyes, man. Because in Lamentations 4:21, it talks about, you know, the Lord is going to visit Esau Edom. He will discover his sins. You know, loosely paraphrasing. We're living in that time right now, man. You know, so just best believe it's more cases. You know, this is not the only, you know, Edomite nurse that's doing this, man. Best believe it's more out there that's doing this to our, you know, to our young children, man. So with that being said, I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to end up by giving all praise and the glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Makakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. Lord willing, I hope this lesson was edifying. Till next time, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom, and a Bible ball. Until next time, Lord willing.